dear students. I am Dr. Shikha Pandey, Associate Professor from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today I will discuss about the transport of solid waste. In the last class, I have discussed about the transfer of solid waste. Transfer of solid waste from one location to another location. Now comes to the different point, that is about the transport of solid waste. So, in this solid waste management lecture, integrated solid waste management lecture, we are at the point of integrated municipal MSW management, municipal solid waste management. We are at the point of this transfer and transport, because all this will all cover from waste generation to its handling, then it's a proper storage and it's a collection, and after collection next point will come. This is like transfer and transport of solid waste. So transfer is means transfer from one location to another location, and transport means which type of transport can be used, like either railways or roadways, or what we should uh, things we should make changes, railways and roadways, and which type of vehicle is there, either truck will use vehicles type, and how much time the vehicle should take the operation, whole operation on, and the layout should be developed for the running of the vehicle from one point to another location. So let's start this lecture. First of all, the transfer station. Transfer station means what? Transfer station means like material recovery facility site, MRF, material recovery facility site, material recovery facility center. This is MRF. So in a transfer station facility, waste recovery operations should be incorporated, keeping adequate area available for unloading of collection vehicles. Like what you should do, like in the waste recovery operation, all these things is related with this waste recovery. So for the waste recovery operation, it should be incorporated like that. The adequate area should be available for unloading of the collection vehicle. Means for the unloading or loading of the collection vehicle, means the area should be there at the transfer station. So these are the important points that should be keep in mind while designing the transfer station area. The throughput capacity of transfer station, the throughput capacity of transfer station should be such that the collection vehicle do not have to wait too long to unload. Means the vehicle should not have to wait much long to unload the vehicle. To unload the vehicle, it should not have to wait long. In this way, the work should be smoothly running of the loading and unloading process. The throughput capacity of the transfer station should be like that. The collection vehicle do not have to wait too long to unload, and the storage capacity requirement should be evaluated carefully while planning and designing transfer facility. Storage capacity requirement, the capacity requirement for the storage of waste capacity should be like that. It should meet all the criteria, and it should be successfully evaluated and carefully while planning and designing transfer station facility. So the storage capacity requirement is again a very important point that is related, that should be evaluated very much carefully while planning and designing this transfer facilities. While planning and designing of this transfer facility, the storage capacity requirement is much important, and it should be evaluated carefully while the planning and designing transfer facility. So the transfer station, the 3 points are there. First is that the waste recovery operation that is related with the transfer station should be incorporated, keeping adequate area available for the loading and unloading of collection vehicle. First point is that it should be adequate area should be there for the loading and unloading of collection vehicle. Next point is the throughput capacity of transfer station should be such that the collection vehicle do not have to wait long. The collection vehicle do not have to wait too long to unload. Collection vehicles, it should be like that. The collection vehicle should not be have to wait too long to unload, and the storage capacity requirement should be evaluated. It should be evaluated carefully while planning and designing transfer facilities. So first point is adequate space should be there at the transfer facility. Next point is vehicle should not wait longer to loading and unloading of the waste. Next is the it should be evaluated carefully while designing transfer facility. So these 3 points are there while designing transfer station. First is it should be no time will be lost for the unloading and unloading of waste. Second is the timing should be there and there will be no waiting timing. Next is the adequate space should be there, and third is the it should be evaluated storage capacity requirement is also important at the transfer station facility. Storage capacity requirement should be evaluated very much carefully. Now comes to the next point. It is like a this what is this transfer station? Transfer station means a recovery center, or a transfer center or MRF site, material recovery facility site, or either it is either landfill also. So resource recovery center, it is a building or processing site for the temporary deposition, consolidation and aggregation of waste. Transfer stations refers to a place where the resource recovery center is there, and it is a building, it is an area, or it is a processing site for the temporary deposition, consolidation and aggregation of waste. For temporary deposition, consolidation and aggregation of waste, some transfer station allow residents and businesses to drop off small loads of waste and recycling, and this may perform some preliminary sorting of material. Many transfer station is like that. They are allowing residents and business person to drop off a small load of waste and recycling. Means it should be handled by the same person only, the this resident and businesses to drop off small loads of waste and recycling, and they can perform some preliminary sorting of the material also. And some other transfer station are the places where local waste collection vehicle will deposit their waste like cargo prior to aggregation and loading into larger vehicle. So other transfer station means they are the places where some local waste collection vehicle will deposit their waste cargo prior to aggregation and loading into the large vehicle. So transfer station is of three types. First is like it is a resource recovery station, MRF recovery station, material recovery facility site. Second is that some transfer station will allow the residents and businesses person to some drop off some small loads of waste and recycling, and they can perform their sorting and preliminary activity at the site. Third point is that the transfer station are the place where local waste collection vehicle will deposit their waste. Some local waste collection vehicles are there and they will deposit their waste cargo prior to aggregation and loading into larger vehicle before aggregation or before loading into the larger vehicle. So these 3 points are related with the transfer station. Transfer station is like a building, is a place, or it is a material recovery facility site. Next is the transfer station will allow, sometimes they will allow a person, sometimes they will allow the businesses person also. So they will drop off their small loads of waste and recycling, and they can perform some preliminary sorting of material. Other transfer station are the places where local waste collection vehicle will deposit their waste cargo prior to aggregation and loading into the large vehicle. Now comes to the next point. This is like the what does this transportation means? Transportation of the waste stored at waste storage depot at regular interval is essential to ensure that no garbage or beans container overflow and waste is not seen littered on the street. So this is the point related with the transportation and transfer. It is like transportation of the waste is it is a storage of the waste deposit at regular interval, and it is essential to ensure that no garbage bins or container overflow and waste is not seen littered on the street. Transportation system has to be designed that it is efficient and cost effective too. It is efficient and cost effective too. This is a very important point, efficient and cost effective. Transfer station is like that, efficient and cost effective. Efficient means it should, if its efficiency is good, and it should be cost effective, like it should be nearby to the waste storage capacity or waste storage location or waste producing location, and the system should synchronize with the system of waste storage depot and should be easily maintainable. Okay, this is also again an important point. The system should synchronize with the system of waste storage depot and should be easily maintained. It should be easily maintained and it should be synchronized with the system of waste storage depot and should be easily maintained. Comes to the next point. Now what happens with this waste transportation? These are the present scenario that is related with these are the some points that is related with the present scenario of waste transportation. First point is like that inefficient and unscientific manual loading of waste manual loading of waste is there, and it is inefficient and unscientific manner. Waste loading is like that, it is in totally inefficient, not effective manner, or totally unscientific manner, like it should be handled by a normal person or manually on a proper care should not be taken. Next is the irregular transportation is also not regularized. Next point is underutilization of fleet of vehicles, means some space is already there in the vehicle, but they are not utilizing all the space, they are utilizing very less space, and this is like underutilization of fleet of vehicles. Open trucks causes nuisance. Open trucks are there that will create a foul smell and nuisance. Open trucks are there, and these trucks are creating some foul smell and nuisance. Non-routing of vehicle is there. Non-routing of vehicles means too much. Some U-turn is there, or the vehicles is going to the highways, and highways is having a more speed of vehicles. So non-routing of vehicle is there. So these are the five important points that is related with the now the present scenario of this waste transportation. Transportation should be like that. It should not create any kind of nuisance, it should not pass through the heavy traffic area, or if it is passing through a heavy traffic area, then the waste collection should be done in the morning only. Or if it will be going throughout the very heavy traffic area, so this should be the vehicles should be used, should be covered, only covered vehicles should be used, so that no litter will be spread on the street, or the vehicles should be used properly, means vehicles should be filled properly, no space should be left, so that that work should be efficient, and this will be a cost effective only. Now comes to the next point. These are the some pictures of the transport vehicles. These vehicles are using for the transportation of waste nowadays. Now, so equipment and accessory requirement at the transfer station. So in a direct load transfer station, usually rubber tied rigs are required to push the waste into the transfer vehicles. Another rig is usually required to equalize the load in the transfer vehicle. So sometimes to push the waste on the to push the waste into the transfer vehicle, or to direct load to the transfer station, some rubber tied rig is there, and in a pit storage load transfer station, one or more tractors are required to break up the waste and push them into the loading hopper. One more In a pit storage load transfer, one or more tractors are required to break up the waste and push them into the loading hopper, and additional equipments to distribute and equalize the load is also required. In a pit storage load transfer station, one or more tractors are required to break up the waste and push them into the loading hopper, and some more equipments is distribute and equalize the load is also required. An overhead clam cells crane is found to be successful for both the purpose. Overhead clam cells crane is found Overhead clam cells crane is there. This crane is doing to successful for the both the purposes. So this crane is required, some rubber tied rig is required. At a storage station site, one or more tractors are required. So these are some equipments, and these are the very accessory requirements that should be important at the transfer station site, and these are the rubber tied rig. Next is the tractors, more tractors, or some clamshells, cranes. This should be important for conducting whole operation. These are the important equipment that is important for conducting all the whole experiment. Next is the scale should be provided at all medium and large size transfer station for monitoring and operation. For monitoring the operation, and also to charge based on weight when used by the public figure. So this is also an again important point. And next point is that facilities for equipment maintenance should also be provided. Facilities for equipment maintenance. Obviously, equipment maintenance is also required. So for this all equipment maintenance, facility should be given. Environmental requirement. As now comes to the point, this is as from the environmental point of view, what is important. So enclosed facility should have air handling equipment that create negative pressure within the facility. Enclosed facility should be there, that is having air handling equipment and that create negative pressure within the facility. Construction should be fireproof with open loading areas in direct load transfer station. Construction should be fireproof with open loading areas in the direct load transfer station. And next is the sanitation requirement. So for sanitation requirement, sanitation is again a very important point that is related with this transfer station to stop the foul smell and nuisance. So, for maintaining proper sanitation, spilled solid waste should be picked up immediately or should not be allowed to accumulate more than 1 or 2 hours and should be washed down. In larger facility, wastewater pre-treatment may be required to treat plant wastewater before being discharged to the local sewer. In larger facility, wastewater pre-treatment should be required to treat plant wastewater. Obviously, to discharging the water into a local sewer, before that pre-treatment is required, because the already it is a wastewater. If you will discharge it directly to the local sewer, this will again pollute the local sewer. So before discharging into the local sewer, pre-treatment is very much important. It will be required to treat the plant wastewater before discharge into the local sewer. And for maintaining proper sanitation, spilled solid waste should be picked up immediately or should not be allowed to accumulate more than 1 or 2 hours or should be washed down. Now comes to the health and safety point of view. From health and safety point of view, there should be not be scope of dust inhalation by providing mask to all workers. Mask should be provided to all the workers, and overhead water spray should be used to keep the dust down and storage area of the storage load transfer station. Overhead water spray is also important and it should be used to keep the dust down the storage area of a storage load transfer station. In storage load transfer station, tractor in the pit area should have enclosed cab equipped with air conditioning and dust filtering unit. In storage load transfer station, tractor in the pit area should have enclosed cab equipped with air conditioning and dust filtering unit. Next is that the public should not be allowed to discharge waste directly into the pit at large storage load transfer station. So these four are the important points that should be related with the health and safety point of view. So first of all, what it is, there should be a scope of dust inhalation. To avoid the dust inhalation of the worker, masks should be provided. Overhead water spray should be used to keep the dust down. Overhead water spray should be used to keep the dust down at the storage area. In a storage load transfer station, tractors in the pit area should have enclosed cab equipped with air conditioning and dust filtering unit. The public should not be allowed to discharge waste directly into the pit at a larger or storage load transfer station. Next, location of the transfer station. Location is also much important because location should be like that, and these are the point should be followed for selecting the location. So for location, these are the points. So what is the first point? It should be nearby to the weighted center of individual solid waste production area. It should be as much as possible to weight center of the individual solid waste production area served. It should be on the center. It should be as near as possible weighted center. Next is the within easy access of major arterial highways routes as well as near secondary or supplementary means of transportation. Within easy access of major arterial highway routes or as well as near secondary or supplementary means of transportation, where there will be minimum public and environmental objection. Obviously, no objection with the no interference with the public and with the public and the environmental objection, where construction and operation will be economical and site selection based on transportation cost. So these are the 5 points that is related for with the selecting the location of transfer station. For selecting the location of transfer station, it should be nearby to the, it should be near as possible to the weighted center of the individual solid waste production area, within easy access of major arterial highway routes, as well as near secondary or supplemental means of transportation, where there will be no public interference, where construction and operation will be economical, and the site selection is based on the transportation cost. Next is the problem analyzation. So first, this is the problem analyzation, how to solve the problems related with the transfer station and disposal site. So first, assume that the determination should be made by the of the amount of solid waste that should be hauled to each of the three disposal site from each of the three transfer stations, so that the total haul cost will be minimum possible value. So here we have to find out, we have to determine that what will be the amount of solid waste that should be hauled to each of the disposal sites. See, three disposal sites, D1, D2, D3. So each of the disposal site, and from each of the three transfer stations, so that the total haul cost will be minimum. So that total haul cost will be minimum. So you can see that this is the definition sketch has been like that. See, three disposal site is there, D1, D2 and D3, and you can see that three transfer station is also there, T1, T2 and T3. These are the three transfer station, and these are the pathway. You can see that from T1 transfer station, it will go to the D1. So it can be denoted by X11. From T1, if it will be go to the D2, then this is X12. From T1, if it will be go through this waste will go to the D3 location, then this is X13. Like this, from T2 to D3, T2 to D2, and T2 to D1. So these are the routes are there for the transfer station, transferring of waste to the disposal site. So first of all, we'll find that the total amount of waste hauled to all the disposal site must be equal to the amount of waste delivered at the transfer station. This is the material mass balance requirement. The amount of waste hauled to all the disposal sites should be equal to the amount of waste delivered to the transfer station. The waste hauling and an amount delivered to the transfer station should be equal. And next point is that a specified amount of waste can be accepted at all three disposal sites. Means same amount of waste should be accepted at the three disposal site. The amount of waste hauled from each transfer station is equal to or greater than zero. The amount of waste hauled from each transfer station is either equal or greater than the zero. The allocation problem is set up. Let's the transfer station site be designated by I, and disposal site is designated by J. Transfer station is I and disposal is J. So first Xij. Xij means what? The amount of waste hauled from transfer station I to disposal site J. Cij. Cij means what? The cost of hauling waste from transfer station I to disposal site J. Let Ri is equal to the total amount of waste delivered to transfer station, that is I, and next is the Dj. Dj represents total amount of waste that can be accepted at disposal site J. So these are the donation symbols we are using for this question and this problem statement. If the total haul cost are to be minimized, then an objective function defined as the sum of the following terms must be minimized subject to the problem constraint. So x11, if it will be equal, then x11 plus x11 c11 plus x12 c12 plus x21 c21 plus x22 c22 plus x23 c23 plus x31 c31 plus x32 c32 plus x33 c33. So with all these things, this function has been derived. So summation of 3 j is equal to 1, and summation of 3 I is equal to 1 x I j c I j. This is the main objective function of all these disposal site, relationship between the disposal site and transfer station. Now comes to the next point. The amount of waste hauled to the disposal site must be equal. Next condition is also there. This is like waste hauling to the disposal site must be equal to amount brought to the transfer station. So this is like summation 3 j is equal to 1 x I j is equal to r I, where I is equal to 1, 2, 3. The total amount of waste hauled from the transfer station must be equal to or less than the capacity of the disposal site. So, total amount of waste hauled from the transfer station must be equal to or less than the capacity of the disposal site. And the amount of waste hauled from transfer station must be equal to or greater than the 0. Xij is more than equal to 0. This is the main function we have derived by this problem analyzation. The amount of waste haul from the transfer station must be equal to or greater than 0. Means waste should always, the amount of hauling of the waste and amount of loading of the waste should be 0 or equals. So that this finally we have obtained this relationship. Xij is either more than or equal to 0. Now this has been some of the standard that has been given by the CPHO, Central Public Health and Environmental Engineering Organization. CPHO has made some rule on this waste transfer and transfer location. CPHO. First, what they are saying, the Central Public Health and Environmental Engineering Organization, if disposal site is more than 10 kilometer away from the city boundary and smaller vehicles are used for transportation of waste, it may be economical to set up the transfer location. If disposal site is more than 10 km away from the city boundary and smaller vehicles are used for transportation of waste, it may be economical to set up transfer station. Next is like that large size containers like 50 to 20 meter cube of containers can be kept at transfer station to receive waste from a small vehicle. Like a ram facility may be provided for unloading of vehicle or dumper place container directly into large container at transfer station. So ram facility should be provided. Ram facility should be provided. It is a very important point. And the construction of complicated and expensive transfer station must be avoided. Obviously, some complicated area or some expensive transfer station should be avoided. The requirement of large containers and vehicles may be estimated on the basis of total quantity of waste expected to be brought to this transfer station and the number of trips that vehicle will be available to make in two shifts. The requirement of large container and vehicle may be estimated on the basis of total quantity of waste and expected to be brought to the transfer station, and the number of trips the vehicle will be able to make in two shifts each day. The number of trips the vehicle should be able to make in two shifts each day. So this has been a standard that has been given from the Central Public Health and Environmental Engineering Organization. So these are some standards that has been given by the Central Public Health and Environmental Engineering Organization, and this organization has made everything clear regarding this disposal site or this material recovering facility site, transfer station, or the containers used. So first of all, it should be followed, like the disposal site should be available within the 10 kilometer from the city boundary, and even the smaller vehicles can also be used for transportation of waste. And it may be economical to set up a transfer station. Means to set up a transfer station, it should be economical also. Large size container can be kept at transfer station to receive waste, and for smaller vehicle, and a ramp should be provided for the unloading of vehicles or dumper place containers directly into large containers or transfer station. Ramp should be provided for the loading of vehicles or dumper place container directly into large containers at transfer station. Construction of complicated and expensive transfer station should be avoided. Means there should be no construction of any complicated or expensive transfer station. Obviously, if it will be a very complicated or it will be expensive, then this will be not efficient and this will be not cost effective also. And the requirement of large containers of vehicle should be estimated like that on the basis of total quantity of waste expected to be brought to the transfer station and the number of trips the vehicle will be able to make in two shifts each day. So the number of the trips the vehicle will be able to make in 2 shifts each day. The requirement of large container and vehicles may be estimated on the basis of total quantity of waste expected to be brought to the transfer station and the number of trips the vehicle will be able to in 2 shifts each day. So these are the some of the standard that has been given by the Central Public Health and Environmental Engineering Organization, and it should be followed in all municipality while designing the transfer station transportation of a city. So this is all about the transfer and transfer station. These are the references of the some of the textbook that you can follow for studying on this topic in details, or you will get more clarity if you go through the textbooks. Now thank you for today's lecture, and if you have any queries or if you have any doubts regarding this lecture, you can write in the comment box, or you can give me a mail on the given mail id, like this is like shikha.pndy @gmail.com. So you will write a mail on my given mail ID, and next lecture I'll discuss about some more problem statement on this transfer and transfer location. So thank you for today's lecture.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.